on now. Hold up. Because, baby, we got a problem. This ain't just a little rumor, y'all. This is a pattern. They are pulling out all the stops, running damage control like they are prepping for war. And guess who they just recruited into the armies of enablers? Gina. Yes, Miss I was abused, mistreated, and embarrassed and discarded has now turned around and written a love letter to the judge begging for this man's freedom. Child, what in the demonic Stockholm syndrome is this, okay? This ain't just about Diddy anymore. This is about how they use women, broken women, paid women, pressured women to shield the empire from collapse. Gina is now being paraded in front of the court like she a trophy witness, trying to rewrite history and clear his name like this a mafia fairy tale. Let me break it down, y'all. In this letter to the judge, Gina calls Diddy humble, hardworking, and an amazing father. Now, baby, I nearly fell out my damn chair. If Diddy is so humble and amazing, then why did you spend your years publicly crying about how he mistreated you? Why were you on the internet liking shady posts? Why were you on social media saying he never gave you the title you deserve? Why were you on Tasha K platform whispering truths under the breath of fear? Suddenly, he's a sweetheart, and then she writes that he never harmed me. Excuse me? Not the same Gina who was dragged into that hotel drama, flown around like damn luggage, and emotionally torn down every time he got bored. Honey, either they offer her a bag or she's still brainwashed and trauma bonded to the monster who built his career on domination, silence, and submission. Whew! Let me tell y'all what this really is. Diddy legal team is in panic mode. This man has a list of charges longer than the CVS receipt, and it includes trafficking, coercion, rape, and allegations of child exploitation. The feds, honey, they are circling his estate like vultures, and they are trying to flip every narrative they can. So what did they do? They pull an ex from the vault, one who already had public history with him. They slap her with a script and tell her to write her pity piece to the judge. And then they try to use her tears and recycle trauma to say, see, he's not that bad at all. Wake up, party crashers. This is textbook manipulation, straight from the elite playbook. They are trying to turn this monster into a misunderstood father figure right before our eyes. Don't fall for it. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I did feel bad for Gina at one point. She was young, impressionable, and caught up in all that chaos. But at some point, you gotta choose what side of history you wanna stand on. You can't post thirst traps one week, talk about your trauma the next, and then pen a love letter to the man accused of destroying lives. All for clout, a check, or fear the machine. Because that's what this is. The machine. Whew. And you better believe, when the machine is cornered, it starts using women, money, kids, and silence as weapons. Let's not forget, this ain't the first woman to get suckered back into this orbit. Look how many of them disappeared quietly after the lawsuits. Or go from crying on Instagram to co-parenting peacefully. It's not a coincidence. is control. Financial control, emotional control, psychological warfare. These women ain't free. They are trapped, and Diddy uses fame as a leash and shame as the muzzle. Gina, she may have convinced herself she's helping him, but But she's only helping silence the voices of victims who had no letter, no lawyer, no voice. They want you to forget the raid. They want you to forget Cassie lawsuit. They want you to forget the Epstein connections. They want you to forget the recordings. They want you to forget the trafficking allegations. They want you to forget about Kim Porter's mysterious death. And now, they want to bury it all under a love letter from a woman who used to say she barely survived him. But we remember, because we're not under the spell of Hollywood. We're not sipping the industry Kool-Aid. We don't bend for billionaires who built their empires off the backs of bodies and broken bodies. So, here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to let Gina's letter rewrite the legacy of abuse, coercion, and pain. Not on our watch. This is why we keep showing up. This is why we tell the truth. This is why we break the algorithm every time we post. Because we are the party crashers, and we will not bow to the machine. Gina may have picked her side, but we've already chosen ours. I see y'all tonight if I go live. Baby, it's wartime. I cannot stand when y'all get up here and y'all want to talk about it takes two to tango. And I have something to say to that. You see, this is not a ballroom. This was a crime scene, not a slow dance. You see, the problem right here is y'all love to water down abuse, control, manipulation, and flat out corruption by turning it into a relationship squabble. No, we're not doing that. This woman, Gina, sat in silence for years. She watched the same man who allegedly brutalized her move through the industry untouched while more and more women came forward. And now that she finally writes a letter on the behalf of the same man, suddenly y'all want to hit with it takes two? Let me break it down real quick. Just because someone had a relationship with a monster does not mean they shared the same things. Diddy wasn't tangoing. He was orchestrating. He was puppeteering. He had women, assistants, artists, lawyers, all dancing to a song that they didn't even choose. And you ever been in a toxic manipulation, emotional abuse situation? Then you know it don't take two. It takes one dominant force and one fighting for survival, baby. Now, do I agree with her writing this letter? Absolutely not. Because what you're doing is not forgiveness, that is compliance. You're not standing up for justice, you're helping a predator prolong the performance.